I've known Mehul for 15 years. Our bromance began 15 years ago in the backseat of a car. Let me explain. I have to explain that. So we found ourselves carpooling on our way to an event at Stanford. And we, in the first 5 minutes, realized we were both just complete losers. I had realized my friends didn't want me in their draw group. And what that means, for those of you who don't know, this is a really big deal. In school, we go for the draw, and you submit your housing preferences and who you want to room with. And my friends didn't want me in their group. So I'm feeling pretty bad about myself. And Mehul's like, oh my God. Well, my friends didn't reject me completely, but I did rush for a fraternity group, and I think I may have forgotten to tell them that I wanted to actually go draw with them. So I actually don't have a group either. And Mehul pops the question. He's like, do you want to room together? And I'm like, yes, please. So in the first 5 minutes of meeting Mehul, we decide to room together. And like any bromance turned into a relationship, started with sparks and giggles, turned into, let's call it, reality setting in. So I roomed together with Mehul after that, and I would come home after a long day of classes and a lot of work to do. He was sitting there and probably wearing some ironic t-shirts and playing the guitar, probably not doing the problems that he should have been doing, just wanting to talk, and me just being tired. I just wanted to floss my teeth and go to bed. Mehul was the foil, and I think the only thing I contributed to Mehul that year was teaching a little bit of Bollywood dancing. So I'm sure the folks at this table remember the mix, sprinkle, sprinkle. But literally, that was the only thing. I'm sorry, Uncle and Auntie, that was the only thing I could teach him that year. But Mehul gave back to me a lot more than that. He gave me the play hard into the work hard, and helped me understand what it meant to actually live in the moment. And for that, I am forever grateful. The second phase of my relationship with Mehul was when we started a company together as Vivek, myself, Mehul, and we poured our blood and sweat and tears into this thing, and we experienced the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. We started to run out of money, so we had to fundraise. We found ourselves going to Sand Hill, which is the mecca of venture capital in the Bay Area, and we were about to pitch to the partnership team at a renowned VC firm. It's in the evening, 6 or 7 o'clock. Right before we go in, the power goes out. And the partner comes out and says, guys, I'm really sorry. We can totally reschedule. Not a big deal. And Mehul chimes in and is like, no, we got this. We could totally do it. And he's like, are you sure? Vivek and I turned to him, and we're both like, yeah, are we sure? And Mehul's like, yeah, no, let's do this. We totally got this. So we went into the room, and it's completely dark. There's 12 old white men about to learn about social, mobile, local music applications. And Mehul turns one of our cell phones into a demo machine. He turns another.
Power went out.
The power just went out.
That is the best.
Let Mehul take over.
Yeah.
Yeah! Come on, Cap. You can do it.
Well done.
Yeah.
I can't believe that company went
Two.
Wow. It's on.
You're back.
No.
Sing. We are back in business. All right. Thank you, battery technology. That actually saved us that evening when we were demoing. So anyways, Mehul turned one of our cell phones into a demo machine, another cell phone into a microphone that allowed the China and Korea offices to dial in, and the other cell phone into our slide deck that we were presenting. And we did the whole pitch in the dark. The next day, the partner called me and he said, look, we didn't really get this social, mobile, local music thing. We didn't really get it. But we were really impressed with how you handled the situation. And credit goes to this guy. Mehul was the heart and soul. I think Vivek and I would agree. He is the heart and soul of that endeavor. His passion, his never give up attitude, fight through walls, and when the power goes out, just keep on chugging. That has inspired and motivated us to do things that we didn't think were possible. So for that, again, that was all Mehul. The third phase in our relationship was all about finding a girl. Now, I met my wife, Neha, several years ago, and she was visiting me for the first time in San Francisco. And of course, I take her to the apartment, aka the bachelor pad. And there Mehul was, sitting on the couch, probably playing video games. Must have been GoldenEye, right? So as soon as he sees Neha, he jumps up and he gives her a big bear hug for which he's very well known. And acts like he's known her for several years. And then they proceed for hours to talk and talk and talk. And I'm standing there just trying to insert myself into the conversation. But they talk about everything. They talk about, Jim Harbaugh and the state of Wolverines football. Go Blue. And they're talking about the state of politics and how he invented the iPhone. You invented the iPhone, right? Right, basically, he invented the iPhone. And I should have been more insecure in that moment than I actually was, but honestly, I was relieved because Mehul knew how important Neha was to me, and he wanted to be there to make her feel welcome. And that's the kind of guy he is. So in terms of him finding a girl, I tried to return the favor. I became his chief marketing officer. And I firmly believe in the law of large numbers, which is the more people you meet, the higher the chance you are of finding... the higher chance you are of finding someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So online dating, of course, was the answer. Encouraged him. He was somewhat reluctant to set up a profile, and this is before everyone did it. It was not cool at all. And he, a few months later, was like, look, Shalin, I'm going to stop this. This is not working. I'm just not able to get in the door. And so, being any data-driven project, we broke the problem down. And we analyzed his profile and the first messages he was sending. We identified the candidate list of folks he wanted to message and get in touch with. We cross-referenced them against LinkedIn and Facebook and other various social networks. We identified key characteristics about them that we could leverage in a first message that was sent. And in fact, I'd like to say I ghost wrote some of those first messages. True story. But I realized a couple years later, he actually didn't need my help. He messaged me and said, hey, Shalin, there's a girl I'm really interested in, and I'd love for you to meet her. Her name is Sona. And I got a chance to meet Sona for the first time at a friend's birthday party. And I'll admit, Sona, I was very skeptical and was like, who is this person that Mehul didn't ask me to vet and message for the first time? But my first conversation with you totally alleviated those concerns. We talked, I don't know if you remember this, but we basically talked about all of Mehul's idiosyncrasies. And we bonded over that. We're like, oh my God, yes, like Mehul will totally just be talking with you and then he'll just fall asleep mid-sentence. It happens. He will play video games and he'll be overly helpful and he'll want candy and gummy bears for dinner. And I'm like, yes, yes, yes. But then Sona said, look, but that's why we love Mehul. And at that moment, I remember Sona looked at Mehul and Mehul looked at her. And in that 1 or 2 seconds, the gaze that they had with each other, there's an understanding and a communication that was happening that they didn't have to say in words. And I mean, that's love if I've ever seen it. And I knew that you guys were right for each other in that moment. Mehul, you and I have been roommates, co-founders, wingmen, brothers, my first love, and my eternal love. Sorry, Neha.
It's okay.
And I couldn't be happier for you. Sona, you have been able to receive Mehul's love and affection and return that to him even more and in spades. And for that, you are an amazing person. You are generous, you are kind, you're caring, you're emotionally intelligent, and you are absolutely the reason I know Mehul's going to thrive for this life and the next ones. And I've been through a lot with Mehul. I've seen him through thick and thin in very emotional moments. I've never seen Mehul at a loss of words, ever, until this afternoon when he was giving his vows to you. And I could see that words couldn't describe how much you meant to him. And I am so thrilled to see you both together today. I'm so happy for you and would love to raise a toast to both of you. Cheers.